Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, we'll be building the best transfer XI of the season so far. So players that signed in the summer, how well are they doing so far? But before building that 11, let's react and take a look at the 11 that I built at the beginning of the season. I felt this were the 11 best transfers of the summer transfer window when the summer transfer window ended. Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold as a right back, Zabarni, Dean Huijsen, and Kerkez in the defense, Zubimendi, Reinders, Wirtz in the midfield, Diaz, Isak, and Cherki up in attack. And Donna, I mean, very strong, extremely strong start so far to the season. Trent, obviously been injury prone, has been rotating with Carvajal for that Madrid right back spot. Kerkez, not good at all. Zabarni and Huijsen, both good additions to Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain. Zubimendi, he's been very cheeky. Reinders, Wirtz, Luis Diaz, Isak, Cherki. I mean, there's so much to discuss, so let's actually go in and build the 11. Starting off with the goalkeeper position, we'll be taking two nominations, either because of how good they've been but didn't make the top spot, or we gotta discuss them. The first one is Chevalier. Chevalier was coming in as a very strong candidate, and before Donna signed for City, I had Chevalier even ahead of Juan Garcia in this transfer 11, because Chevalier before the transfer to PSG was better than Juan Garcia before the transfer to Espanyol. But obviously, in a very short period, a lot has changed. Chevalier has been very uncomfortable, very questionable in that Paris Saint-Germain goal. And, you know, we just can't defend it anymore. He just hasn't been that good. Obviously, he is underperforming, but he hasn't been that good so far. Juan Garcia is the second name. Has only started, I believe, 7 games for FC Barcelona. But the impact that Juan Garcia has already had at FC Barcelona is absolutely immense. They conceded something like 5 goals in 7 games under him, and have conceded like 18 goals in 10 games. Averaging nearly 2 goals. They haven't kept a single clean sheet with Juan Garcia. So, if Juan Garcia was fit the entire, he could potentially competing for the number 1 spot really tightly. But the number 1 spot obviously has to be Gianluigi Donnarumma. He's picked up that form he had in the Club World Cup, that form he had in the UEFA Champions League knockout stages, and given it to City. And City already looked much more defensively stronger than last season, strictly because of Gianluigi Donnarumma. I believe he has like an 80% save success rate, which is absolutely insane. Gianluigi Donnarumma takes the goalkeeping spot. Moving on to the right back positions, the first one we have to discuss is Frimpong. Frimpong, again, has also been injured. I think he's potentially currently injured as well, but just hasn't gone that well for him at Liverpool FC. Obviously, he's a wing back, he's more of a winger than a right back. But his actual position is a wing back in a 5 at the back. And I think that has been the main problem. Frimpong just isn't the player that Liverpool expect. He's not a right back. He's not going to give you some progressive passes. He's not going to give you the strength of a right back. And I think that's why it hasn't gone that well. And then overall, Liverpool haven't looked so good. Second one, you know, left Liverpool, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously competing with Carvajal. Xabi Alonso is giving Carvajal that respect after coming back from his ACL last season. But even when Trent has played, he's been decent to good, but nothing special. You know, we're not, as they call him, the most generational right back. He's not been performing anything close to that. Obviously got injured and is now back, so we'll see how he continues his season. But for the right back position, even though I haven't watched barely any Roma, I'm going to pick Wesley. Because I remember Wesley when he was at Flamengo. He was really good in the Club World Cup. Bought up by Roma. Roma made so many great signings under the new manager, Gasperini. And Wesley has started every single game for Roma. Roma are sitting, I believe, 4th in Serie A currently. And out of all the right backs that were transferred, not that many in this summer transfer window, Wesley looked like the best one and will probably start for the Brazilian national team as well. So Wesley takes the right back position. Moving on to the center back position, we're going to pick 2 center backs, but we're going to go through some other mentions before that. You have Loic Bade, who in the summer transfer window looked like a real great signing. Paris Saint-Germain, other clubs were monitoring his situation at Sevilla, but he opted to join Bayer Leverkusen, replacing basically basically replacing Ta. It hasn't gone that well. Leverkusen's defense has been very leaky so far in this season. Next up is Mosquera, another player that Paris Saint-Germain had their sights on. Obviously joined Arsenal for a very, very cheap price. And just by that, he's put in competition for these positions. But obviously, he's been a backup to Saliba and Gabriel, who've been nearly completely healthy so far this season. But whenever he's needed to step up, like versus Atletico Bilbao away or in the EFL Cup, I believe, in a big game as well, maybe played against, I don't remember who. But yeah, he's been a revelation in the few amount of minutes he's been able to play at Arsenal FC. Next up is Hanko. He's been a good signing for Atletico Madrid. I saw him as one of the best centre-back signings in the summer transfer window. Has improved them a little bit, I guess, defensively. Next up is Jonathan Tah. Was a bit surprised when Bayern went after him, especially the way they play. But he's looked solid so far. Had a good, solid performance versus Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Champions League as well. But my two centre-backs are going to stick. They're going to stick there from my early transfer 11, and that is Dean Huijsen and Zabarny. Let's start with Zabarny. I think he's solidified and strengthened Paris Saint-Germain's defense even more. Yes, we're still conceding goals, but that's more on the goalkeeper. But Zabarny, he's been a good competition, and I already think in just a few months has already proven everyone that he should be a starter ahead of Marquinhos in the big games. Next up is Dean Huijsen, Real Madrid. Toni Kroos retired last season, and now Toni Kroos came back, but as a centre-back instead. I think Dean Huijsen, for the ball progression, for what Madrid need, it's exactly the right thing. I also like Dean Huijsen's mentality. The issue with Huijsen is similar to players like Kubarsi and Lucas Beraldo. These are players that excel in passing and with the ball, and aren't, good defenders, the best defenders. He's already had like 3 red cards at Madrid so far. But despite all of that, he's still been a huge upgrade and a huge improvement for Real Madrid. So Dean Huijsen and Zabarny take the 2 centre-back spot. Next up, moving on to the left-back position. First one to talk about is Ait Nouri. He was a Algerian bias, great signing, used to play Angers in Ligue and went to Wolves, was competing with the best left back in the Premier League with another player that we'll come to, and then joined City. Had a good Club World Cup. It's been good so far this season whenever he's played, but obviously he's been riddled a little bit with injuries, and recently very tough competition from O'Reilly for that left back position. Next up, the other left back competing for the Premier League best player spot is Milos Kerkez, who's been absolutely woeful at Liverpool so far this season. And a bit similar to Frimpong, you can talk about him being misused. It feels like Liverpool bought a lot of great players, but not a lot of great players that suit into the system that Arne Slot wants to play. Because Kerkez, he's more of another attacking left back. His strengths are crossing, driving into the box, ball carrying. But he's had to play a quasi centre-back, left-back role, just like Nuno Mendes at Paris Saint-Germain, and it's completely not suited him. He's not good defensively. He doesn't have good awareness in that position, and he hasn't gone well at all. But could change with time. Next, and who wins the best left-back position so far in the transfer XI is Alvaro Carreras at Real Madrid. It's been a very cheeky signing for Real Madrid, especially with Ferland Mendy out, especially with Fran Garcia not being good enough. Alvaro Carreras has been one of Madrid's best players so far this season. I can even see him, if Xabi Alonso one day switches to a 3 at the back at Madrid, Carreras would be the perfect left centre-back, but because he has great interceptions, he's good enough with the ball, can make those attacking runs, and scored a recent banger recently as well. So Carreras takes the left-back position. Moving on to the midfield, and there's only one player to talk about, and that is Florian Wirtz, signed for 140-ish million from Bayer Leverkusen. He was seen as the biggest summer transfer and has he actually been the biggest flop? Going from the biggest transfer to the biggest flop. Seen his stats in the Premier League. 11 games, 0 goals, 0 assists. And I absolutely love Wirtz. He's an incredible football player, but he's just not been performing. Yes, he's still been good. Like, I've seen some stats, like he has the most key passes and big chances created in Liverpool as well. And obviously Liverpool overall being bad does not fit Wirtz. But he's been nowhere good enough, and Wirtz knows that himself. Next up is Richard Royals, went from Palmeiras to Benfica. Cheeky player, Paris Saint-Germain were interested in him. I think he's been decent, nothing special. Next up is Enzo Lefebvre, Sunderland. Used to like him when he was at Lorient, went to Roma, and now he's Sunderland. 1 goal, 1 assist in 10 starts in the Premier League. And Sunderland have been one of the best performing teams in the Premier League. But as you can see, the midfield spot are really weak. Let's talk about the three players that are going to start. Reinders is the first one from Manchester City. He takes that starting position. He's been good enough for Manchester City. Obviously, nothing special, but he's been good for City. Next up is Palhinha for Tottenham Hotspurs. Flopped at Bayern, went back to Premier League where he cooked with Fulham, and he's looking very good. I think he's been one of the best players for Spurs so far this season, even scoring a last-minute winner and needed one for Tottenham Hotspurs. And last but not least in the midfield, it's Martin Zubimendi takes the third and last midfield spot in this team. He's been a half revelation at Arsenal. I think they lacked midfielders in his sense, a deep playing technical midfielder, which can make Rice push up even more, which suits him even more. Because Rice, how can I say, playing as a 6, you need to be a specialist. Playing as a box-to-box, you just need to have no weaknesses. And I think Rice suits the box-to-box way more. And it's basically an upgrade on Thomas Partey as well. But Zubimendi, very good signing so far for Arsenal. And that completes the midfield three with Reinders, Zubimendi, and Palhinha. Moving up until the attack, let's start with right winger. The first one to discuss is Bryan Mbeumo. Went for obviously 70 million, which, I mean, I didn't understand because I was not watching Brentford. But he's been a very good signing so far for Manchester United. Maybe the price is a bit too high. Maybe the wages is a bit too high, but that doesn't really matter. He's been one of the integral players and, trying to get United back to their best this season and hoping for a UEFA Champions League spot. And Mbeumo takes an aforementioned. Next up is Cherki, another player who I love, incredible baller as well. Obviously, he's been unfortunately injured. If he wasn't, he would probably be in the top spot. But yeah, Cherki's a great player. He's already showcased many great stuff in the Premier League and will show soon even more. And lastly but not least, Estevao, in my opinion, takes the right wing position. I think he scored 8 goals in all competitions. And for me, it's mostly the adaptation. And Mbeumo went from Brentford to United. Cherki went from Lyon to City. Estevao went from Palmeiras to Chelsea. It's a huge step. We've seen Vitor Roque. We've seen Endrick struggle. We even saw Vinicius struggle. The only one that didn't really struggle was Rodrigo, actually. And he struggled. So we've seen a lot of players struggle. But Estevao, I don't want to say, but it's Neymar-esque. And out of all the recent Brazilian talents that have come up through the ranks, I think Estevao has always been the most similar to Neymar, especially in his play style and so on. He's just not a talented Brazilian. No, he actually plays very similar to Neymar Jr. So, yeah, I didn't expect Estevao to hit the ground running this hard already, scoring a equalizer, a winner in a big game versus Liverpool as well, a dirty goal, sliding in with his tackle. So I think Estevao deservedly takes a right wing position. Next up is left winger, and tough competition here for the 2 top spot. Cunha is the first player to talk about. Just like Mbeumo, part of the Let's Fix United project, and he's been good. He hasn't gotten enough GA, but from what I've heard, he's been, basically playing as their number 10, creating the opportunities, making the runs, and giving United fans that magic that they've been missing for a very long time. Second spot is Marcus Rashford. He's not strong enough to take that first spot from who you know, but Rashford, as I saw in the summer, another reason why I wanted him at Paris Saint-Germain. He's a strong, talented football player. And FC Barcelona got a great deal, a loan with a very low wage, with a 30 million buy option. Very great. I think he is definitely the most GA player in FC Barcelona this season. You can talk about his play, but one thing he always does, especially in his playmaking, he's become a selfless forward in that Barcelona attack, which suits Lamine Yamal and Lewandowski. It'll be really interesting when all 4 of them are back, if we can see a 4-man attack of Yamal, Rashford, Rafinha, and Lewandowski at the Camp Nou. And lastly but not least, the left winger spot is taken by Luis Diaz. Obviously has to take this left wing spot, has been absolutely sensational for Bayern München. Bayern improved since last season, but I think Diaz is a huge key reason. Why? Because I felt Bayern always needed a profile like Luis Diaz. You got Olise the playmaker, you got Kane who can score, but loves to drop deep and play make and organize, and then you got Luis Diaz, basically the Rafinha of Bayern München. We have a Bradley Barcola. That's what you need. You need that runner in behind that's always looking for goal, that's always making that run, even if he doesn't get the pass, which suits Harry Kane and Olise a lot because they love to play those switches to the left side. And Diaz, been a great signing. Made people like me who doubted his ability. I was looking at Bayern, looking at their squad, 70 million. But obviously, if they could get the best out of him, it would have worked well. And they've gotten the absolute best out of it. including scoring 2 goals versus PSG. And moving on to the last position, the striker position. First one to discuss is Hugo Ekitike. He's been very, very good so far at Liverpool FC. Obviously, Liverpool struggling themselves hasn't helped out Ekitike. Also competing with minutes with Alexander Isak has not helped, who Liverpool are trying to get back to his best. But Ekitike, good signing so far. Definitely a little bit less below expectations, but because of the Verts and Isak signings, you don't really look at Ekitike as 95 million anymore. Second spot, Joao Felix. Yes, a Saudi League player because he has like 12 GA or something. He's been very good. Obviously, it's the Saudi League at the end of the day. But I want to give the Saudi League and Joao Felix some prop for doing it that well in the Saudi Arabian League. And happy for Joao Felix himself, who maybe this could be a career revival and he gets back to his best. But he's been cooking with Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr. And lastly but not least, Marcus Rashford is back and takes the striker position. It was too tough competition for the left wing spot, and I think Rashford has had a better season than Joao Felix, Hugo Ekitike, even Joao Pedro, who was a nomination before. Rashford completes this 11, and let's take a look at it. Gianluigi Donnarumma, Wesley Zabarni, Dean Huijsen, Carreras, Palhinha, Reinders, Zubimendi, Diaz, Rashford, and Estevao. Lineup-wise, it's a bit too defensive. I mean, we basically got 2 DMs in a box-to-box in midfield. Wesley could potentially be an attacking right back. I'm not entirely sure. Carreras is more defensive. But it's a solid lineup. And as we just saw, it has changed since the beginning of the season. Donnarumma kept his spot. Zabarni kept his spot. Dean Huijsen kept his spot. Zubimendi kept his spot. Reinders kept his spot. And Luis Diaz kept his spot. Wesley, new entrance. Estevao, new entrance. Rashford, new entrance, and Alvaro Carreras and Palhinha, new entrances. That finishes off for the transfer best 11. Let me know what player missed out on this 11. Was it Hugo Ekitike? Was it Joao Pedro? Was it Franco Mastantuono? Was it Jonathan Tah? Was it... I don't know who. That's been it from boy PSGINT. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez Paris.